Do you have bats living in your wall? You probably have bats living in your wall.
It's 2019. It's horror month. This is the Dave Decay Show, and we are continuing with the Universal horror films. And now we have reached the third film in the Frankenstein series.
You okay over there?
The series. You have the series?
I have a series of things wrong with me, I think.
Series.
So, this is the first movie. This is the third movie, right? We're on the third film, not the first one.
Right.
What?
Yep.
Okay, and this is actually called The Uncle of the Brother of the Sister of the Son of Frankenstein.
No, it's just Son of Frankenstein.
Oh, are you sure?
That's what the title says.
Frankenstein's college roommate.
I think that's what it is.
What's that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
You're not doing your accent, Dr. So-and-so.
I am doing my accent.
No, that is not your accent. Now listen.
I think I drank some of Doug's potion.
Nice cover.
I got into some of his potion.
Good save.
Okay, so Son of Frankenstein.
By the way, it's good to see you back again. It's good to have you both back again.
I haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you go somewhere?
No, you did.
What's all this then?
It's good to see you again.
Oh, I understand what you're saying now.
You know, you were invisible, right?
Right.
Jolly good, what?
I think you lost your accent again.
Jolly good to see you again.
Oh, there it is.
What's all this then?
What?
What's all this then?
So what this is the Son of Frankenstein. Now, like I said, this is the third film in this series, and I think this is the first movie that got to the third sequel. No, wait a minute. Yeah, I think it is.
Yep.
Alright, so Son of Frankenstein is probably what, most people know Frankenstein, obviously. They know Bride of Frankenstein. But really, I think pretty much anything after that, once it starts getting to the third and fourth and fifth sequel, pretty much loses the core audience. Not the core audience, but the side audience. Those who know Frankenstein and they know Bride of Frankenstein, and they don't really know that much about the sequels.
The casuals, not the hardcores like us.
Exactly.
You're saying they tend to forget how far the Frankenstein's movies went.
Exactly. It's like now, when they make another sequel to another horror film, they're like, oh man, how many sequels are they going to make? I'm pretty sure probably back then, I don't know if it was the same attitude or not, but let me tell you, I am so glad that they did make this movie, because it is really impressive. It's not as impressive as the first two, but overall, it's a really impressive movie.
It's differently impressive.
I actually was more impressed with it than the last movie.
Which was what?
The Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh,
What?
no.
What?
No.
I actually was more impressed with it. I enjoyed it a whole lot more because it was a little more serious like the first film.
I think somebody's been dipping into Doug Decay's stash over there.
No, it was actually taken more seriously, and I actually enjoyed it just a little bit more.
Well, the things I really loved about this film, there's a lot of stuff to love about this movie, actually, is, first off, is,
Basil Rathbone.
yes, Basil Rathbone is great in the movie, but I think that Bela Lugosi's best performance was in this film. He was so good in this movie, and people just don't realize how great of an actor he was. In watching this film, it was just astonishing what he could do, and he was incredible.
Which is why I find it, not the only reason, but which is part of the reason that I find it more impressive than the last film.
Because of Bela Lugosi?
That's one reason.
Pull the strings! Pull the strings!
And he actually, this is the other thing about this film, is he plays a character called Igor. Now, pretty much the softcore audience.
I'm sorry, the what now?
The softcore audience. Not the hardcore like us.
What?
Are you talking porn?
Try casual.
Whatever.
Casual. Softcore sounds real bad.
Softcore casual. How about that?
Filthy casual.
Those who don't watch Frankenstein that much always associate Frankenstein and his assistant Igor. And I think it's interesting that Igor doesn't even show up until the third film, and everybody thinks that he's in all the movies, that he's the assistant, and here he is finally, Igor makes his appearance in a Frankenstein movie.
Because the first film had Fritz.
Yeah, I know, and I think a lot of people just call him Igor because they don't know, until this film, Igor actually existed.
And this one, it was actually Igor, where his neck had been broken and he had the hump and everything that normally is associated with Igor.
Yeah, and, I loved his character. He is such a great character in this movie, and he developed it so well, and he was actually, creepy, but at the same time, he was very funny.
Exactly, and that's why I enjoyed that character so much, and it actually made the film a lot more impressive to me. I liked the way he also controlled the monster.
Yes, and now in this film we get, obviously it's called The Son of Frankenstein, and the Son of Frankenstein was played by who, Spookerella?
Basil Rathbone.
Now that's a name, so-and-so.
It's British as hell.
Basil Rathbone.
It's maximum British.
He played Sherlock Holmes in the early Sherlock Holmes films.
That's what I said.
What?
What?
He was Sherlock Holmes before Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah, and he's a great actor, and he is really a great actor in this film as well. Now, speaking of other great actors, of course, this is the return, and I believe, if I'm not wrong, which I very rarely am, is this is the last time that Boris Karloff actually plays the monster in this film.
Yes, I believe you're right. For once.
So, after watching this, I can kind of understand why this was the last time he played the monster. Now, I love the look of the monster with the furry vest and everything. I thought it was a really cool look. But he really kind of turned into an actual monster in this movie. He wasn't so much sympathetic like he was in the other films. He was actually sort of a killing machine in this movie.
Which is also why I was more impressed with it.
Why's that?
Because he became the monster again. He wasn't talking. He didn't talk in this movie like he did in the last one. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying he was back to being the Frankenstein monster from the original.
And I think by this point, the audiences were already used to, Boris Karloff as the monster. And, I thought it was really great that they got Bela Lugosi to play Igor, which, like you said, commanded the monster, which was a great idea, and it worked so well in the film.
Okay, so one thing I did find kind of odd was that they ended up naming the town Frankenstein. I thought that was very strange, that the entire town was called Frankenstein.
Well, I guess, when you have the money like Frankenstein does, he's just going to name a town after him.
Or maybe it's just because they got known for having this monster running around and killing people.
So what do you think, Spookerella?
Maybe it's just me, but wasn't there another Frankenstein movie that had Igor in it, and his neck was messed up, and he wanted Frankenstein to put his brain into another body or something?
Yeah, spoilers.
Because I got confused when we were watching this, and I thought that this was that movie, and I was confused.
No, that happens later on in the series.
Is it supposed to be the same Igor? Because that doesn't really make any sense.
It is. That's the sequel to this one.
But that doesn't make any sense.
Well, it does when we will get there, but we're not there yet. You're going too far into the future.
Well then, no further questions, Your Honor.
That must be some of Doug Decay's rum that's bothering you.
No, I think it's making her see into the future. That's kind of what it does, too.
Yes, I believe that.
Okay, and the other really great character in this film, and it's funny to even watch it now because Mel Brooks made fun of this character in Young Frankenstein, was the police chief who had the one wooden arm. And I just love that character. He's funny in this film, and of course, he's actually in Young Frankenstein.
Exactly. That was another character that I thoroughly enjoyed in this film. And I think that's why I did like this film just a tad bit more than the last one. Because the characters were better.
I told you, stay out of that stash, so-and-so.
I think I enjoyed this movie as well because it was very obvious that this was a lot of the inspiration for Young Frankenstein, as far as like Gene Wilder acting like Basil Rathbone and the guy with the wooden arm and throwing the darts and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Plus the look of Frankenstein. Ever since this film, everybody remembers that look of him having that huge fur coat.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, but I like the look.
He's like 70s Frankenstein. He's got like a big furry vest.
He was like the monster pimp, the pimp monster.
No, like a hippie monster.
And I have to say, as far as labs go, I enjoyed his lab. I would have liked to work in that lab that they used in this film.
Speaking of science.
Science!
Science in this film. There was a lot of science in this movie.
Quite a few moments of science.
Science.
Science!
It sounds like your accent came back.
It's like Thomas Dolby was just walked in the room.
Now, was the science actually
Accurate?
accurate?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's all we need to know, I guess. I mean, that kind of says it all right there.
What, you want me to dispute the science of Frankenstein?
Which, I thought was cool because none of the other films actually kind of went into the detail of the monster, and the Basil Rathbone's character actually kind of confirmed that he wasn't really human, even though he was, made from other body parts. When he was put together and created, he still had some kind of sort of like a nuclear, atomic...
Cosmic rays.
What?
It was cosmic rays.
Cosmic rays. Nuclear atomic power.
Cosmic.
He also exhibited a little more emotion with the son of Frankenstein, because it actually went into, he had a choice. He could actually go and pick up where his father left off and learn everything that his father had learned and then go with it, or he could have thrown it away right at the beginning and said, no, I'm not going to do that to this town, as he started to say.
So overall, this is a really impressive sequel, and one, again, that I don't think a lot of the softcore casual know about.
Can we talk about the kid? Can we talk just for a second about the kid?
No, not really, no.
Hey, Father! How are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
He sounded so British.
The kid ended up with some sort of weird country accent.
Hello, Father. I saw a giant in my room.
Yeah,
That is quite good. That is quite enjoyable. I like that.
pretty much nailed it.
He must have been related to some studio executive or something.
I think he was related to the kid in Star Wars The Phantom Menace.
But a lot more country.
Actually, I found that quite entertaining. However, there's a bad actor in the whole film, that's it.
Yeah, that would be him.
So what do you give this movie? What?
So what are you going to give this movie, Professor So-and-so?
Oh, I really enjoyed the film. Like I said, I think it was so far the best sequel to Frankenstein, to the original, and I enjoyed it. I would give it a golden tombstone.
And what are you gonna give it, Spookerella?
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
And I am gonna give this movie a 5 out of 5. Excellent, excellent sequel.
Yes, very good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Alright, so up next is the sequel to The Invisible Man, which is actually, pretty fast for Universal turnaround time. So that should be an interesting sequel to that classic film. But don't forget that all month long, Dave and Becky are live screaming horror games 31 straight days this month.
Heck yeah! So tune in! Tune in and turn on and drop out!
Exactly.
Man!
What?
What?
So as always, stay spooky.
So, with all that said, I enjoyed that lab, and I'm going to go move in, I think. I'm going to go check out my new lab.
What's thumping and bumping over there? Is that you?
That's Willow.
She's upstairs.
I know, that's what you're hearing.
There's no... What could she possibly be doing that's thumping and bumping?
I don't know.
Do you have bats living in your wall? You probably have bats living in your wall.